need to get to the most important part of the episode.
We
Thank
have
you.
to. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. I think you will be.
So we
I
already
think you
did it.
will enjoy this part of the episode. The last
No,
three.
I thoroughly will. Now, KD, I have to ask you a question. I mean, I don't
Hey,
even really want to get into the Zion thing, but
we're gonna
do you
bring
still
up.
do you
We're gonna
still
bring
think Paolo
up
is a better do you still think Paolo is a better playmaker than Zion?
playmaker. I don't know if I ever said Powell is a better playmaker than Zion.
No, I think you have actually.
I don't think I said that.
Latif, am I lying, or was that you?
It's probably me and Q, not KD. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. No, I definitely knew it was one of you guys.
It was.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that's true? Do you think
No, I think that's true? No.
Okay. All right.
But okay, let's actually get to the real topic at hand right now. Paolo Banchero, number 1 overall pick in 2022, heralded as a top 20 player by a lot of outlets.
I got him
Let's
at
say that because I think were you not one of those outlets?
Yeah,
he had him at 23. So not top 20, but
I didn't. But I mean,
he wasn't an extremist, I guess, because he had him 3 spots above 20.
That's not the point. That's not the point here.
Latif's never wrong. Latif's never wrong.
No,
just early.
Me, like coming to a realization about Paolo is admitting that I was wrong about him last year. But we gonna get to that point. I'll speak my piece when it's my turn. I want to open up the floor to you guys. How concerned are you guys about Paolo's struggles this season? Because he's been awful. To keep it pretty short. This is open to anybody. Actually, I'll start with Q because I want to hear his unbiased viewpoint of it because everybody else here is biased besides Max. I guess he don't care. But Q,
okay. If I had to like put it on like a scale of 1 to 10, it'd probably be like a 3.
What's nervous? What's nervous? What's not nervous? What's nervous? What's not nervous? 10 is you're nervous.
10 would be like I'm nervous. 1 would be like it's I'll be like a 3, 4 at most. Like obviously he got hurt. I blame the front office for a lot of the missteps and the flaws. Not really the flaws in Paolo's game, but just like the ability to cover it up or like aid and assist in not making those things glaring, like getting a true point guard, facilitating point guard, or like a perimeter oriented like scoring guard, like even if it's somebody like an Anthony Simons. I'm not asking you to go get a Trae Young or LaMelo, but Anthony Simons just enough provides a little bit of space and enough that you could operate a little bit better because he does get stuck doing the same type of shots. Like those shots in like especially in the regular season, they're not really like the best shots because you're not getting the best spacing and like the game not dictated for that. Yeah, he obviously does have to get better at certain things like shot selection and things like that. But other than that, I think you could blame everything on the front office and them not maximizing what they got, like all the assets and whatnot. He still has to get better as a player, though. I'm not gonna excuse him for that. But this specific season, I think it's a lot of other factors that you don't have to like go too hard on him right now.
I don't know about a lot on the front office. Max, what are we thinking?
In the past, in this conversation, I have sided with Paolo for sure. I've definitely
you wanted Paolo over Chet. You wanted Paolo. No, you wanted Paolo over Chet.
Over Chet. Yes,
that's a smart man.
In 22, I wanted Paolo over Chet for sure. I've definitely been a Paolo. Like I wouldn't call myself a Paolo supporter. I guess I've been a fan of Paolo's game, but he's been shown to be streaky at times. For sure, he's been shown to be streaky. He has not been a consistent, dominant player throughout his entire NBA career at all. He's been young, he's been learning, and now he is injured. But again, he has shown that he has immense talent in the offensive side of the basketball. I don't think that Orlando has put around a great team around him in the slightest. I don't think that this team is really like amazing. I don't think the help there is great. Jaden, if you let me get into my entire take, into my entire take, then you'll be fine. I think that Paolo overall is going to get overhated right now. I think it was a bad year, but again, I think he's playing injured, so I don't really fault him that much for it. I wouldn't be that worried. I still think that Paolo has immense talent and a lot of potential. I think he's shown that he can be a great basketball player, and I think that if the front office can put complementary pieces around him, you can develop that, 1. And 2, he just got to get healthy and just get older. Like he'll just get more experience.
He should get older.
I don't know what to say. Like he needs to play more basketball games to develop. On the flip side, though, I think I've been a semi-truthist on Zion. I feel like I have people have hated on Zion.
Let's not talk about Zion. Let's not talk about Zion right now. Let's wait. Let's wait.
I'm going on both sides.
Wait, we haven't talked about Zion. Zion is the next topic, Max.
Fine, then
Let's just wait. Next thing. Man, the problem with Paolo, did KD go?
No, you can go. Go ahead, Jane.
No, I want KD to go. KD, what's been going on with your guy Paolo?
You're saying there's a problem with Paolo. Go ahead.
No. What's been going on? So you don't think he's been struggling, or what do you mean? Because there definitely is a problem.
He's just been hurt. It's really that simple.
Okay. I mean, he's kind of been inefficient. It's just third year in the league. He's kind of been inefficient all 3 years. So I mean, I don't know if I should just tax him for
not in the playoffs
inefficiency. I don't know. I only recall 2 good games in the playoffs actually. So.
Hey, look at his playoff numbers. Look at Zion's playoff numbers. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's funny. That's funny.
I'll get into it because it's a lot of casuals. I'm a Magic fan. I'm a Paolo fan. People don't watch the Magic. They can pretend they do. They actually don't. They watch a few highlight clips here and there. That's all they do. They don't actually watch Magic games. This is the third most used lineup that Paolo has been part of this season when Franz is off the court. I'm going to read off the names. The third most used: point guard Anthony Black, shooting guard Trevelyan Queen. 99.9% of basketball fans do not know who that is. Small forward Caleb Houston. 99.9% of basketball fans don't know who that is.
People know Caleb Houston.
Power forward Jonathan Isaac. Very great defensive player. Offensively, gives you nothing. And then Paolo basically at the center. That has been the third most used lineup for Paolo with Franz off the court this season. That just goes to show you the level of offensive talent that's around him. It's literally garbage. It's so trash that it's to actually expect a 22-year-old who's on top of that is coming off an injury to perform with that.
I mean, I've seen K produce. It can happen.
No, Cade has been inefficient up until this year because he's had trash teammates around him. That has been the case. I watch Cade. I'm a Cade fan too. You're not going to just tell me that. Let me go ahead and pull up.
It has a lot to do with Cade's inability to finish at the rim too.
Let me go ahead and pull up. These are Paolo's point guards, right? Cole Anthony and Anthony Black. Anthony and Anthony. They're both as pick and roll ball handlers, frequency wise, 90th percentile. So they handle the ball a lot in pick and roll. In terms of pass creation quality, Cole Anthony, 26th percentile. Anthony Black, 31st percentile. He does not have an actual playmaker in the pick and roll. He doesn't have one.
Do you know who this kind of sounds like? But another guy is very efficient, though. But that's cool.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because the fifth best offensive player on the Pelicans would easily be the third best offensive player in the Magic, and it's not close. It leaps and bounds better offensively than the next best guy. Leaps and bounds.
Who's the fifth best offensive player on the team?
Probably Trey Murphy. Unless you want to say DeJounte Murray is the fifth.
Trey is probably the second if we being real.
Zion, Trey, DeJounte, CJ. I guess y'all traded Brandon Ingram, so he don't really count no more. But before Brandon Ingram got traded, that's literally 5. So we're not about to sit here and pretend like Zion has had some poor offensive teammates or something like that and try to compare it to the Magic.
He also has dealt with terrible spacing and has made it work. So,
but he also can't stand the court. That is a Zion thing. He can't stay on the court.
All right, cool. I mean, that's where we want to go. I mean, bro, the thing is, can we might as well just get into the Zion thing because I just don't think there's.
No, I'm not. No, I haven't said a word.
Yeah, we're not done because I still have to talk about Franz because Franz is going to be brought up here. So the thing with Franz, right? He has a very, very good regular season skill set. Very good. Like historically, players who play fast and play hard and get downhill always do great in the regular season. Especially when you look at Franz's actual bag, he has a nice bag in terms of getting downhill, his scoop layups, the way he quickly gets off shots at the rim before help can really come in rotation, especially in the regular season, is elite. Like it's truly elite the way he can get shots up. It's like the comparison is if you have a shooter with like a quick trigger and you can't give them a little bit of space because they're going to let it fly and you can't do anything about it. You got to stick them versus like somebody with a slow jumper like Dennis, like you can give them a little extra space because they're not going to get it off. Franz gets it right up at the rim as soon as he even touches the paint. So that his skill set is pretty much tailor-made for this Magic team that has poor spacing and just kind of plays around defense and just transition and getting downhill. Does that translate to playoffs? I don't believe so. Historically, it doesn't with guys like Westbrook, John Wall, guys like RJ Barrett, things like that. Historically, it just doesn't really translate to playoffs. Franz, I think, can increase his game. He can add more to it to, kind of mitigate those issues. But when people compare their two games, it's disingenuous. Like the level, like their style of game is not the same. And the Magic roster is much more tailored towards Franz's offensive style of game than it is Paolo's. So a lot of the discrepancies you see are kind of just surrounding that.
I mean, Franz is a better player.
As for who's a better player, I mean, I personally weigh playoffs about 70% and regular season about 30%. And from what I have seen in the playoffs, it's not like there's nothing Franz does in the regular season, at least so far, that could elevate him to where I've seen Paolo do in the playoffs, especially given what I know Paolo can do more of with this game if he's actually given like the right teammates, given a ball handling guard, if he can operate in the short roll as a pick and roll man. There's just so much more that could be opened up in his game that just isn't because the front office, like I think Q said, has just not done their job and surrounded.
What about defensively? I mean, why can't he just step it up defensively? What's wrong with that?
I mean, well, the thing with Paolo defensively is a lot like Anthony Edwards. He just kind of gets lazy in the regular season. But in the playoffs, Paolo was elite defensively. And you go back, you look at the numbers, his contests at the rim, he was like 95th percentile in terms of contests at the rim, was super high in terms of his field goal percentage difference. Like defensively, he was elite in the playoffs. You said who was he guarding?
Yes.
A lot of Mobley and a lot of Okoro, I think, were the main two. But he was the contest at the rim was in help.
You gotta be serious, bro. You gotta be serious.
All right. I'll let y'all talk. I just wanted to let y'all do that. I'm also a Paolo guy. As much as KD6, I've always been a Paolo guy since he's been in the league, since he's been at Duke.
Anytime somebody has to start off something by saying, I'm a such and such guy, and appeal to like authority, appeal to their ethos. That's never.
I only speak on what I believe, right? So I was a person last year who I think I overrated Paolo because I like the idea of a 6'10 dominant finisher.
Did you call him Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah. No, I did not say that. No, I did not, bro.
I remember that.
Yeah. I didn't say that.
No, I think you did say that, KD.
You're lying. Anyways.
I vaguely remember.
I was thinking about the idea. 6'10 dominant finisher who can create for others and has a growing shot creation and mid-range creation bag or whatever. And also after the playoffs, he had a really, really good playoff series against the Cavs. But that series requires some context, which I'll get to maybe later if I even need to say it. But when I reassess Paolo's game, I'm not even talking about this year because I do think he has a lot of the same struggles as last year, but it's just amplified because he's dealing with injury. So I'm not really going to talk about this year, but he's been bad this year, and that's no shame, that's no secret or whatever. But for the last 3 seasons, basically, and especially the last 2 seasons, Paolo has been a net negative for the Magic they're a lot better with him off of the floor. And that's just true. I think Franz is much better at running bench lineups. When he was on the court when Paolo was injured, he was much better at running the team because he's a better pick and roll ball handler. He's a better playmaker. He's better at actually getting to the rim and finishing with touch. Paolo's problem, not the front office, not the team around him, is that his shot diet is awful. It's awful. And that has, I think, partly due to the team around him, but his tendencies since he's been at Duke has been awful. He settles for way too many mid-range shots when he's nowhere near a good mid-range shooter. In 2023, 2024, I'm not going to talk about this year at all. I'm not going to mention it at all. In 2023, 2024, 43% of his shots came in the mid-range. That ranks in the 91st percentile of the entire league. Yeah, he only made 39% of them. That ranks in the 40th percentile in the entire league. 65% of his shots total were away from the rim. He's shooting too many jumpers. He needs to embrace a more rim-heavy shot diet. He just does. He's not a good shooter whatsoever. I understand that the spacing isn't the best, which harpers him from getting to the rim. But truthfully, when he does get to the rim, his touch isn't always the best. He doesn't finish the best at the rim all the time. He is really good at drawing fouls. I will give that to him. He's really, really good at drawing fouls. My only issue is that his shot diet is awful. And I agree they need to get a point guard to help him become more of a play finisher. Paolo needs to be a play finisher. He is not a heliocentric player. He is not a great isolation player. He's not a great shot creator. He's not. That's not his skill set. Right now, he is in a role. He is in a role that is not suited for him, like at all. He needs to be a play finisher that occasionally ISOs, occasionally posts up, and stuff like that. I do think Franz is a better player than him. Franz is a better defender than him. Franz is a better shooter than him. Franz is a better playmaker than him. Franz is a better scorer than him. Franz is a better finisher than him. It's really not like when I think about it,
it's not close.
Until you go to the playoffs.
Now, I'm not as far as the playoffs. That's a 7-game sample size. We have thousands and thousands of minutes of these guys' careers. I'm not gonna.
But that's a 7-game sample size. What actually matters? Nothing in the regular season really matters. Playoffs is what matters.
Well, I don't evaluate basketball like that. And again, we want to look at the.
What percentage do you give playoffs? What percentage do you give regular season?
I would say it's more so like 60-40 in favor of the playoffs. Now,
so the 60%, the part that's larger, where Paolo was way better than Franz.
It's a 7-game sample size. It's a 7-game sample size.
It's what we have to operate off. You have the evidence in front of you. You have what you can operate off.
The evidence can be broken down. I watched the series. I went back and looked at the numbers of the series. Paolo in that series did a great job of taking advantage of mismatches, and he was on fire from mid-range. He was way above average than his actual average from three. It was shooting variance. I don't know what to say. He got hot from three. And when people like to say, "Oh,
he shot like 40% from three,"
he doesn't do that. Like ever. He's not a
that's hot for Paolo.
Yes, it is. And also,
he's like a 20% 3-point shooter.
I can find you multiple stretches throughout the season where he's shooting 40%.
Bro, that's Paolo is not a 43% 3. He's not.
He's a 20. He's a high 20s guy.
Listen, let me
see, when we start to lie, that's where like the conflict
is. He not?
Come on, Jaden. Let me finish with Paolo. Because I love Paolo. But listen. And also, when you go back and look at the series, he was doing damage on Donovan Mitchell. Mobley clamped him. I'm not going to lie. He did. It's no way around it. He clamped him. And Mobley's a great defender, so it happens. I even think I can pull it up, but
he was frying Niang. He was frying Niang.
No, he was not. I went to look at it too, because after the other day, he was not frying Niang. I went to go look at it. Bro, it was so bad.
Like, look at his numbers throughout the series. What are we doing? It doesn't matter who did well on him or whatnot. That's playoff basketball. You hunt mismatches. You get the mismatches you want.
You can hunt mismatches, but you also like to say, "Oh, he dominated elite defense." Not really, though.
What do you mean? Now, what did he average? Look at his numbers.
He dominated
those numbers up.
he dominated 6'4" Donovan Mitchell, and he got hot from mid range.
It
was shooting game.
Here's where you just lost me, because you started this by saying, I like the idea of Paolo Banchero, 6'10", can dominate mismatches. But when he does that, when he uses his,
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
You act like that's a detriment to him. That makes no fucking sense.
I did not say anything about this message. I said dominate dominant rim finisher.
The
I didn't say
whole point of being 6'10" is to find your mismatches and dominate them.
Okay,
that's what you're a mismatch.
You look at this series, he was uncharacteristically hot from 3 in the mid range. That's why I'm not putting so much value in the sample size when he was hot from
before. He's a playoff riser. Like, what are we doing?
He's a playoff riser after one series, bro.
We gotta be serious. We gotta be serious. It's 7 games.
I haven't seen anything to tell me he's not.
Bro, that's not disingenuous.
I have the evidence to go off of.
He's a playoff riser after one series, bro.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. It's that simple.
You gotta be serious.
He'd be in the second round.
You're not being serious. I thought we was gonna have a good debate, bro.
Answer me this. Would he be in the second round if a certain somebody didn't shoot 1 for 15 in a game 7? Just answer me that question.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
No,
if Darius Garland was better in that series, the series don't go 7 either.
They could have been in the second round. They could have been in the second round, yes. If
somebody didn't shoot 1 for 15 in game 7, the worst game 7 performance of all time.
I'm not putting all that stock in a 7-game series where Paolo got hot from mid-range in 3 over thousands of minutes of regular season basketball. I'm not doing that. If it was a larger sample size, then cool, I could do it. 7 games, not doing it. He was 16 to 50. He was 16 to 50. He was 16 to 50.
It's called selective bias.
He was 16 to 50.
It's called selective bias.
He was 16 to 50.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. He was still elite in the series. It doesn't matter if he didn't score. He shot 55% from 3 on Isaac Curl. On George Niang, he was 1 for fucking 11.
Oh.
No, I lied. He was 11 for 22. I just lied. That was bad.
11
for 20. So he actually did fry George Niang. He was 11 for, like, it's fucking George Niang. Like, he fried their worst defenders.
You don't even know his stats. Like, you don't even know the stats he's reading. I don't know how we're supposed to take it.
I'm literally looking at it right now.
Wait. I'm confused.
And then you say he did fry George Niang. Which is it? You don't even know what
right now. He fried their worst defenders, though.
I'm not trying to change the subject. I'm not trying to change the subject, but which is what's the higher percentage? 18 for 30 or 11 for 22?
18 for 30.
Okay.
Do anything, bro?
No, because we were talking about a certain someone against a certain matchup the other day, but we can move on now.
But a lot of these were just like mid-range shots, and he shot 55% from 3 against Isaac Curl. He shot 66% from 3 against George Niang. He shot 50% from 3 on Marcus Morris. He also had what? He had 38 points on Curl. He had 25 points on Niang. He had 20 points on Marcus fucking Morris. He had 28 points on Donovan Mitchell. A lot of his points, again, all credit to him for dominating mismatches, but I'm not putting stock in a series where he it's cool. He played well in the playoffs. It's what you like to see. It was a 7-game sample. I'm not putting that over thousands of fucking minutes of regular season basketball where he was inefficient from mid-range, inefficient from 3-point line, and probably an average playmaker, maybe a little bit above average for his position.
No, nobody said you put it over. You take both into account.
I am taking both into account. And I took both into account, and I saw that he had shooting variance. He got hot from 3 points over 7 games.
It's such a cop-out because...
And also, let's talk about defense. Paolo is an average defender. Sometimes he's below average. Defense matters too. If you're not going to be a hyper-efficient offensive player, you have to be much better than he is defensively.
The reason there's a hole in that logic is because the Magic are a top 3 defense last season.
Because of Paolo Banchero? No.
You don't have a guy who plays 30-something minutes a night on your team.
You talk about Shea all the time. We talk about he's the best defender on the Thunder, and he's actually a positive who actually is a great help defender who actually gets steals, who's also actually a great defensive player. Paolo is not like he is the worst.
He's not. Nobody has ever called Paolo a great defender ever.
He's not a good defender.
He's not even good.
He's not a good defender either. He's probably average.
I already said exactly what it is. He's just lazy in the regular season.
How good of an offense
is different.
How good is it? You have 7 games to go for that. That's not good.
Hold on, bro. I'm tired of the picking and choosing, bro. I'm tired of the picking and choosing.
How great is Paolo's offense? Truthfully, what we've seen so far. How great is it? Huh?
What?
How great is Paolo's offense?
Paolo is 22 years old. There's a whole
right now. I'm not saying he'll never be a great offense player. How great is his offense right now?
Are you asking me what on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, how do you want me to quantify how good his offense is?
1 to 10. Consider
1 to 10, right? I'm not taking into account that he's been worse this season because of his injury.
I'm not talking about this season.
Yeah, I think his offensive game probably a cool 7.
I think that's fair, but
I think it's a 5. But we can really talk about it. We can really talk about it.
It's not a 5.
No.
I think how big of a gap do you think it is between Paolo and Franz?
On offense?
Both of y'all. I'm asking both of y'all. Now, in general, as players.
Because there needs to be a disclaimer here. I evaluate players from a standpoint of winning a championship with. If I think they could be a 1 or a 2 or a 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Franz's style of game, I believe, is very difficult to win a championship with because he needs the ball, but he's nowhere near a good enough on-ball player to actually be like a 1 or a 2 on a championship team. So that weighs in heavily for me. Whereas Paolo, I don't think really Paolo needs the ball a ton because I think he can operate in the short roll. I think he can operate as a screen and roller. He doesn't have a point guard to do it for him. So, that it is what it is. But his game is very versatile. He can operate out the post. He can operate in ISO. He can operate the pick and roll himself. There's so much that he can do with his offensive game. A lot of it hasn't been explored that can lead to winning a championship. Kind of like Jason Tatum in terms of Tatum can do so much on the court, that even if he's struggling at one specific thing, there's so much else he can do on the court. That's how I view Paolo. And Franz is a lot more kind of like Jaylen Brown, if I'm being honest, where it's he can do this one thing, get downhill, attack, and score, and he can defend at a high level. But beyond that, they can't really do much.
He's a much better playmaker than Jaylen Brown, clearly.
Oh,
come on, bro. Come the fuck on.
Compared to Jaylen Brown when Jaylen Brown was Franz's age, yes. But
wait, did we just compare Paolo to Jason Tatum?
Okay.
Because he definitely, I don't know if we were just talking about offensively, but he definitely doesn't have the defensive versatility like Tatum. So what we doing right now?
Okay, my opinion. Paolo has shown me nothing. Paolo has shown me he hasn't shown me a lot to really project him as a number 1 on a championship team. I would have to see his efficiency go up. I would have to see his jump shot become a lot better. I would have to see him improve as a playmaker.
Yeah, you heard it here first, y'all. Averaging 27 on good efficiency in the playoffs. It's 21-year-old.
Oh, brother.
Hey,
Zion was averaging 27
and
7. Zion was averaging 27 and 7 as a 21-year-old.
Yo. I think we've been talking about this 25, 30 minutes and haven't even touched on Zion. So if we want to push into that,
Zion is a whole different topic.
But I'm just saying, this has been 25 minutes of just hinting around Zion and this whole conversation. You can talk about it. It could just happen.
I want to ask a Q's question. As far as the gap between Paolo, I just think it's so much things that right now that Franz do better than him. I don't even know. I don't really know. Paolo.
No, you already highlighted it. He's just better at the game of basketball.
No, he is.
Defending, shooting, getting downhill, It's just,
I mean, it's literally. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, I think Franz is more so like a 6.5, 7 on defense, maybe 7, 7.5. I don't know. That range is weird.
I think you're actually underselling him a bit, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe 7. I was maybe 7.58. He's a really good defender. On offense, I was had to say he's probably 8-2. He's better than Paolo. I mean, he's a better offensive player than Paolo. So, I mean,
if you're evaluating specific individual skill set, sure. I evaluate players in terms of how they can help me win a championship. It's very.
I don't think Paolo has shown that he's going to be a number 1 or number 2 on the championship team right now.
Like, we can't use that. We can't use that. The team isn't built.
Paolo has not shown you anything that can say he'd be more than a third option on a championship team
right now. No, I'm talking